Hi everyone and welcome to Book Boop. My name is Rachel and today I'm going to talk about my most anticipated releases for 2022, specifically for the first half of the year, so January through June. I know this is a little bit late, this is coming out in March, but I figured better than late than never, let's go ahead and talk about these books. So this video is going to be a little bit chaotic. For most of you, you know that I don't really edit my videos, but I've got a lot of things here to kind of help me show you what books I'm excited about. So I've got my notes here of the books that I'm going to talk about. I have my laptop here that has the description of the book so it can help me remember what they're about and to give you an accurate description. And then I also have my Kindle Fire to show you the cover of the book. So there's going to be a lot of shuffling. I'm sorry if it's chaotic, but I want to be able to tell you accurate stuff, show you the picture, and make sure I remember all the books that I want to talk about. So let's go ahead and jump in. So we're going to start with January. There are 2 books in January that came out. Actually, technically 3. One of them was Where the Drowned Girls Go by Sean McGuire, which is the 7th book in the Wayward Children series. I didn't prep anything for this one, but I already read it and I absolutely loved it and I can't wait to tell you more about it and my thoughts about it. But I did read that one already and it was so fantastic. But I've got a couple other new releases in January that I'm really excited about. So let me tell you about those. So the first one is called The Mermaid in the Millpond by Lucy Strange. I have read one other book by Lucy Strange that I really loved. I'm blanking on the name of it at the moment, but she has such gorgeous covers. They all have like this beautiful illustration on them and they all are fantastic. So this is a middle grade book. It says, history and myth intertwine in this atmospheric tale of freedom and friendship from best-selling author Lucy Strange. This story is about Bess, who has left the London workhouse behind for a job at a rural cotton mill, but life at the mill is hard and cruel, a far cry from the fresh start Bess hoped for. The only way to survive is to escape, but the mill is like a prison with no way out. Meanwhile, rumors are spreading about a vicious creature that lurks in the mill pond. Bess is sure it's all nonsense until one night she sees something stir in the murky water. But is it really a monster that lives in the depths of the pond, or a creature trapped and alone, just like Bess, desperate to escape? So this sounds like it's probably going to be difficult, having like the workhouse situation, but also heartwarming, like maybe like a friendship between a little girl and a mermaid, since it's called The Mermaid in the Millpond. I think it sounds lovely. I'm very excited about it. I think this would be a great summer read, so I may read this one this summer if I'm able to squeeze it in. Okay, now let me switch to the next one. I told you this is going to be very hectic. Oh, and that one, sorry, that one came out on January the 6th. All right, this next one, it comes out on January the 11th, if I can find the cover. There it is. This one has such a cool looking cover. It's called Cold the Night, Fast the Wolves by Meg Long. This one sounds really perfect for winter, so I wonder if I may not get to it until later in the year, because this seems very winter atmospheric. It says, after angering a local gangster, 17-year-old Sina Korhoshan must flee with her prize-fighting wolf Iska in tow. A team of scientists offer to pay her way off her frozen planet on one condition. She gets into the finish line of the planet's infamous sled race. Though Sina always swore she'd never race after it claimed both of her mother's lives, it's now her only option. First of all, I completely forgot when I first read the description of this book that this is kind of has a sci-fi thing. So she's stuck on like this frozen planet. It makes me think of Hoth from Star Wars. But I think this sounds so interesting. So we've got like this planet science fiction aspect, but it's also like a sled race with her prized dog. And I love having sort of like the bond between a person and their pet, or like, because it's part of their family, right? So I'm really excited about reading this one, and I think it would be perfect for the winter. So I may wait to read this one towards the end of the year since we're kind of moving out of the winter now. But this one came out on January the 11th of this year. So I think this one sounds really cool. Okay, now we're moving on to books that came out in February. I feel like I'm shuffling all over the place with this. All right, this one, it comes out on the 1st. It came out on February 1st, and it is called A Lullaby for Witches by Hester Fox. And if I see witches in a title, I immediately click and I'm like, what is this about? All right, it says 2 women, a history of witchcraft, and a deep-rooted female power that sings across the centuries. Once there was a young woman from a well-to-do New England family who never quite fit with the drawing rooms and parlors of her kin. Called instead to the tangled woods and wild cliffs surrounding her family's estate, Margaret Harlowe grew both stranger and more beautiful as she cultivated her uncanny power. Soon whispers of witch dogged her footsteps, and Margaret's power began to wind itself with the tendril of something darker. Ooh, this is a dual timeline story. Okay, so then it says 150 years later, Augusta Potos takes a dream job at Harlowe House, the historic home of a wealthy New England family that has been turned into a small museum in Tinmouth, Massachusetts. When Augusta stumbles across an oblique reference to a daughter of the Harlowes who has nearly been expunged from the historical record, the mystery is too intriguing to ignore. But as she digs deeper, something sinister unfurls from its sleep, a dark power that binds one woman to the other across lines of blood and time. Ooh, I'm overly intrigued again. Oh my goodness. I love the idea of, I love dual timelines. I love it. I love jumping back and forth between the past and the present, and I think this is going to be really cool. So I apologize I'm looking away from the camera so much, but I got my laptop down here and I'm sorry. I promise I'm not trying to ignore you. But again, this one came out on February 1st. So good fall read. I think it might be. It's nice and witchy. I love it. Okay. This next one is one I have heard a lot about, and I'm interested to start hearing some reviews about it because I feel like a lot of people have this on their anticipated releases, and I apologize if I don't pronounce it right, but it's called Extasia, I think, by Legrand. The cover definitely sucks me in. It just looks really dark and spooky, and I love the vibe it gives off. This one comes out on February the 22nd. This is a bone-chilling YA horror novel about a girl who joins a coven to root out a vicious evil that's stalking her village. Perfect for the fans of Handmaid's Tale and The Grace Year. This sounds really, really cool. I think I'm just going to stop there with that. I kind of don't want to know anymore. But it just sounds spooky. Bone-chilling YA horror grabs me right away. And then about a girl who joins a coven. That sounds really interesting, and again, very much fall vibes. I am for it. Again, I've seen this one around a lot on BookTube and a lot of people's anticipated releases, so I'm excited to see just people start talking about it more after they've read it and just see kind of what people think, but I'm pretty pumped to read this one, so I think it's going to be a really good one. All right, next is one last one for February. This one also came out on the 22nd. This is one, again, that a lot of people have talked about, partly because of the beautiful cover that it has. It's called The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie. I apologize if that's not pronounced correctly, but this cover, gorgeous. It is so pretty. And I remember the description of this one sounded really, really cool. Oops, I accidentally clicked back on my laptop. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. All right, it says, deadly storms have ravaged Mina's homeland for generations. Floods sweep away entire villages, while bloody wars are waged over the few remaining resources. Her people believe the sea god, once their protector, now curses them with death and despair. In an attempt to appease him, each year a beautiful maiden is thrown into the sea to serve as the sea god's bride, in the hopes that one day the true bride will be chosen and end the suffering. Many believe that I can't pronounce that, I'm sorry. The most beautiful girl in the village and the beloved of Mina's older brother, June, may be the legendary true bride. But on the night the girl is to be sacrificed, June follows his girlfriend out to sea, even knowing that to interfere is his death sentence. To save her brother, Mina throws herself into the water in the girl's stead. Then she ends up in the spirit realm and finds out that the sea god is actually asleep, and she's going to try to see if she can wake him. So this sounds really, really cool. I'm not sure if this has anything connected to any folk tales. I feel like I heard maybe it did, but this sounds really, really interesting and a lot of fun. And I mean, after the description and the cover, how can you say no, right? And again, this came out on February 22nd. All right, I've got a whole bunch of books to talk about that are coming out in March. This first one sounds so cool. It gives me so many nostalgic vibes that I'm here for it. And it is called The Night Shift by Alex Finlay. This sounds like such a fun thriller. I believe it's an adult thriller, but the setting sounds so good. Okay, listen to this. It's New Year's Eve, 1999. Y2K, y'all. Y2K is expected to end in chaos. Planes falling from the sky, elevators plunging to earth, world markets collapsing. A digital apocalypse. None of that happens, but at Blockbuster Video in Linden, New Jersey, 4 teenage girls working the night shift are attacked. Only one survives. Police quickly identify a suspect who flees and is never seen again. 15 years later, in the same town, 4 teenage employees working late at an ice cream store are attacked, and again, only one makes it out alive. Both surviving victims recall the killer speaking only a few final words. Good night, pretty girl. There's more than that, but I'm not gonna read anymore. Oh my gosh, it sounds so good. First of all, so much nostalgia. I remember Y2K. I remember going to the Blockbuster stores. I loved going to Blockbuster. It was so fun just like perusing the shelves. I remember my mom letting us rent movies and video games, and oh my gosh, man, I'm excited about this. This is gonna be a really fun thriller, and I love all the nostalgic vibes. This one came out, or is coming out, March 1st. So I wanna read this one soon. I feel like this is a good summer one. It just feels summery. I know it takes place, at least the beginning of the book takes place on New Year's Eve, but it just sounds summery to me, and I'm really pumped about this. So I really, really wanna read that one. Okay, next for March. This has a very odd cover, but it really pulls me in because it's so weird. Where is it? Here we go. It's called The Book of Living Secrets by Madeleine Roux. I love it. It's got like the planchette, and it has like tentacles coming out of a book and a skull and a moon, and it looks really fall, spooky, Halloween time, and I am all about that. It says this story follows 2 girls who transport themselves into the world of their favorite book, only to encounter the sinister alternate reality that awaits them. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm trying to decide, do I want to read more about this? I don't know. I think that's enough. I love the idea of, I think this story follows 2 girls who are really, really obsessed with this particular book, The Book of Living Secrets, and then they like get sucked into the world, or they go into the world, which sounds so cool. I mean, how cool it would be to be like reading a book and you're just obsessed with it and you've read it over and over and over, and then you were able to actually travel into that world. That sounds so cool. So this makes me feel like if you were Alice, reading Alice in Wonderland, and then you were in the book, and then you realize it's a lot stranger and more terrifying than you thought it would be. I'm all about it. This one comes out again March 1st. So this one sounds like so much fun. So pumped. Okay, next shuffle here. This is one you probably have heard of. I have this one on hold at the library, and I think I'm first in line, and I cannot wait to get a chance to read it. And weirdly enough, I had a hard time finding a good quality cover picture, but it is V. Schwab's Gallant. This is her newest YA book, and I'm really pumped about it because it sounds like it's supposed to be a mix of The Secret Garden and what was the other one? Oh shoot, I don't know, Secret Garden and then like some spooky thing. So it's like, it just sounded like a really cool mix. It says, everything casts a shadow, even the world we live in. And as with every shadow, there is a place where it must touch, a seam where the shadow meets its source. Olivia Pryor has grown up in Maryland School for Girls, and all she has of her past is her mother's journal, which seems to unravel into madness. Then a letter arrives inviting Olivia to come home to Gallant. Yet when Olivia arrives, no one is expecting her, but Olivia is not about to leave the first place that feels like home. It doesn't matter if her cousin Matthew is hostile or if she sees half-formed ghouls haunting the hallways. Olivia knows that Gallant is hiding secrets, and she's determined to uncover them. I'm gonna stop there. Spooky house. Check. Love it. Let's do it. It sounds fun. I love reading V. Schwab stuff. I love her dark atmospheres and her morally gray characters, and I'm excited to read it. I think it sounds like a lot of fun. And I'm all about spooky Secret Garden, if that's what it is, because yes, please. So that sounds awesome. Again, March 1st. Okay, now, next, we've got 3 more here in March that are coming out. And let's see, what did the cover of this one look like? Here we go. Oh yes, this one is a sequel to another book. What was the name of it? It's the Edinburgh Night series. Hold on. I'm going to open another tab because I'm blanking on the name of the first book, which I did read. Okay. The first book, called The Library of the Dead by T.L. Huchu. This is the sequel to that. Our Lady of Mysterious Ailments. I had trouble finding a full cover of this. It's coming out on March the 3rd, at least I'm pretty sure. I ended up getting these release dates mixed up last year, I think, and I accidentally had the UK release date, I think. But this one just sounds really, really cool. I'm not going to say anything specifically about this book, but it's about a girl who's able to talk to ghosts, and she actually has a job where she collects messages from ghosts and takes them to their living members of their family or living friends, messages, passing them back and forth, but she charges for it. And some crazy supernatural stuff starts happening in her city, and she tries to get to the bottom of it. And that was the first book. This one is following the same girl again. I'm really excited to follow her and her escapades, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm excited to read this one. It comes out on the 3rd of March, and I can't wait to jump into this world again. And it takes place in Edinburgh, Scotland. So I love it when stories take place in Edinburgh, especially if they're supposed to be ghosty, spooky. I mean, it has so much history with like spookiness there, and I would love to visit Edinburgh one day. But I'm excited about having another book in this particular world. Okay, and the next one has, again, one of the most beautiful covers I think I've ever seen, and I absolutely love it. And it is called A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy Lynn. And just look at it, appreciate it for just a second, because dang, it's so pretty. It says, for Ning, the only thing worse than losing her mother is knowing that it's her own fault. She was the one who unknowingly brewed the poison tea that killed her, the poison tea that now threatens to also take her sister. When Ning hears of a competition to find the kingdom's greatest Xiongxi, masters of the ancient and magical art of tea making, she travels to the imperial city to compete. The winner will receive a favor from the princess, which may be Ning's only chance to save her sister's life. So first of all, I personally love drinking tea, and I love the idea of like tea making being like this kind of almost like magical art, and this kind of like sought after ability basically to make these wonderful teas. So it just sounds like a really interesting prospect. I'm really excited about this one. I think it's supposed to be duology, and I believe the second book comes out this year as well. So this first one comes out on March 29th. And then the next one comes out again, I think this year. So you can just read them really close back to back. So I'm really excited about this. It looks beautiful. It sounds amazing. And I'm ready for a fun tea-filled ride. You know what I'm saying? All right. Last one that is in March is called, this one sounds, I'm really excited about this one because I just think it sounds super spooky fun. And it's called A Forgery of Roses by Jessica S. Olson. Beautiful cover. Again, it says she's an artist whose portrait alter people's real life bodies, a talent she must hide from those who could kidnap, blackmail, and worse in order to control it. Guarding that secret is the only way to keep her younger sister safe now that their parents are gone. But one frigid night, the governor's wife discovers the truth and threatens to expose her if she does not complete a special portrait that would resurrect the governor's dead son. Desperate, she ventures to his legendary stone mansion. Once she arrives, however, it becomes clear the boy's death was no accident. Someone dangerous lurks within these glittering halls, someone harboring a disturbing obsession with portrait magic. I love the idea of this. It's such a fascinating idea of someone that can paint a portrait and actually change someone's physical appearance. But I wonder, just reading this description, like I wonder if this has ever been attempted before, like if she's ever attempted to bring something back to life with her portraits. That's so fascinating. I'm very interested with this one. This one comes out on March 29th as well. And I'm really excited about this. This just sounds like such an interesting concept. And spooky. Like, it sounds spooky. It kind of gives me the feeling of, oh my goodness, what's the name of the classic book? Oh shoot, I can't remember. You know, the one with the guy with the painting and he starts doing bad things, but he's not changing, but the painting changes? You know what I'm talking about. That one, that classic. That's what I'm thinking about. It's reminding me of that. So I'm excited. I think it's gonna be really cool. All right, I have 4 more books for you. One of them is coming out in April. And I think this is one I actually had on a anticipated releases before. I feel like this book was supposed to come out maybe last year and then it didn't. but now it's supposed to come out on April 5th. So I guess maybe it just ended up not coming out. And it is a psychological thriller from the author of Little Creeping Things. Can a grieving girl discover the twisted truth behind her sister's hiking accident? It's called The Dark Way Down by Chelsea Ichaso? I'm sorry. Again, don't know how to pronounce it. Said Piper Sullivan never should have been at suicide point the day she fell. Her older sister Savannah knows this with all her heart, just as she knows that Piper's accident was entirely her fault. Savannah did something awful, something she can barely stand to think about, and now Piper is in a coma. But just as Savannah's guilt threatens to swallow her whole, she finds something strange in Piper's locker. A note inviting Piper to a meeting of their school's wilderness club at the very place on the very day she fell, which means that there's a chance Piper wasn't alone. So I love me some mystery thrillers. It sounds really, really cool. I'm pumped about this. I just think this sounds really cool. I don't know what else to say about it. I've been trying to read some more mystery thrillers, and for some reason that one intrigues me. Part of it's the cover, part of it's the description. I think it sounds really, really neat. I kind of like it when there's maybe there's a suicide and like a close friend or relative is like, no, I know they wouldn't do that, and then they try to like figure out what happened. I'm fascinated by those. I think those are always really interesting to read. Okay, this one, this one makes my heart warm because I love the movie Brave, the Pixar movie. I love Merida. I dressed up as Merida for Halloween in 2021. And this is a Merida book, and I'm so pumped. It's called Bravely by Maggie Stiefvater. And look at the cover. Look at it. It's so pretty. I love her so much. She's like the Disney princess I would want to be, probably, other than Belle, just because she has a really cool library. It says, Merida goes on an all-new life-changing adventure in this original YA novel set several years after the close of Brave. What if you had 1 year to save everything you loved? I'm just going to leave it at that. There's more description, but it takes place after the movie Brave. I am all for that because I want to see more of Merida. I want to see what she does. It says, 1 princess, 2 gods, 3 voyages, 4 seasons to save Numbrak or see it destroyed forever. I'm excited. You can't tell, I'm really excited. And it comes out on May 3rd. I'm for it. I'm really pumped. This one just, I'm really excited. I love it. I love it. Okay, I've got 2 more for you. I'm sorry this video has been so stinking chaotic. Thank you for hanging out with me if you're still here. Okay. The next one is Book of Night by Holly Black. This comes out, can't talk, on May 3rd as well. It says, the best-selling author Holly Black makes her stunning adult debut with Book of Night, a modern dark fantasy of shadowy thieves and secret societies in the vein of Ninth House and the Night Circus, which I've not read Ninth House, but I love Night Circus. This is one of my absolute favorite books. It says, in Charlie Hall's world, shadows can be altered for entertainment and cosmetic preferences, but also to increase power and influence. You can alter someone's feelings and memories, but manipulating shadows has a cost, with the potential to take hours or days from your life. Your shadow holds all the parts of you that you want to keep hidden. A second self, standing just to your left, walking behind you into lit rooms, and sometimes it has a life of its own. So there's more description than that, but that hooks me right there. That sounds really, really cool. I like the idea of shadow magic. I've read one other book, a middle grade, that had shadow magic to it, and it was a really interesting concept. So I'm excited to see this in this kind of like adult kind of view, and if it has like some Night Circus stuff vibes, then I will definitely give it a shot. I've heard a lot about it. I've seen a lot of people have arcs of them, so I might be seeing some reviews of them soon, which would be really, really cool. Okay, this last one makes my spooky thriller heart very happy, and I cannot wait to read it. And it is called Hide by Kiersten White. It comes out on May 24th, and it's basically a hide-and-seek game gone deadly, and I am all for that. Okay, so it says, a high-stakes hide-and-seek competition turns deadly in this dark supernatural thriller. The challenge, spend a week hiding in an abandoned amusement park and don't get caught. The prize, enough money to change everything. Even though everyone is desperate to win, to seize their dream futures, or escape their haunting pasts, Mac feels sure that she can beat her competitors. All she has to do is hide, and she's an expert at that. It's the reason she's alive and her family isn't. But as the people around her begin disappearing one by one, Mac realizes this competition is more sinister than even she imagined, and that together might be the only way to survive. 14 competitors, 7 days, everywhere to hide, but nowhere to run. Come out wherever you are. I'm so excited. That sounds so cool. I'm so excited. This reminds me of the video game. I think it's just called The Park, and it's like an atmospheric horror game, and it takes place in an abandoned amusement park, and it's so spooky, and this is what it makes me think of, and I'm so excited about it. I can hardly say. I want to read this. This is the one I'm like, oh, I want to read this right now. Right now. I'm very excited. I will probably most likely be reading this one this year because I'm so pumped. Okay, again, the 24th, May 24th. All right. As I've said a bajillion times in this video, I am so sorry that this video was so chaotic and all over the place because of my non-editing, but I hope it wasn't too boring. I hope you've heard of some books that you haven't heard of before to add to your TBRs. Let me know, let me know, let me know if any of these popped out at you that you hadn't heard of and you're like, or if you have heard of them and then you're like, yes, I'm excited about that one too, let me know down below. If there are any that I have missed that you are personally excited about and you're like, girl, this one comes out this year too, you got to check it out. Let me know down below. I would love to know that. Let's see, if for an emoji, if you don't know what to say down there, I think there's a circus tent emoji. It made me think of that one for the book Hide. So if there's a circus tent emoji, put that one up there because that one, I know you made it to the end of the video. So congratulations on that because this was a weird one, chaotic mess. So anyways, on this side of the video is my logo. You click on that, you can subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you if you have. On this side of the video over here is a link to another video if you'd still like to hear me talk some more about books. But thank you so much for watching. You rock, and don't forget to keep reading. Bye.